Standing in the plaza on a warm summer's day, Tsurugi was dressed up in a white sundress as she waited for her date. She was nervous beyond belief as she stood there in anticipation. When Sensei approached, calling out to her, Tsurugi all but jumped out of her skin. Sensei apologized if he kept Tsurugi waiting, but she told him that she also just arrived, but in a more panicked tone. As Sensei looked more at Tsurugi, she asked if something was wrong. Sensei complimented the sundress Tsurugi was in, causing her to overload with emotions and her entire face turned red. As she stood there trying to recompose herself, Sensei struck with another compliment, mentioning her black hair suited the white dress well, causing Tsurugi to melt once more. Stretching out his hand, Sensei said that it was time to go, exciting Tsurugi. As they walked hand in hand, Tsurugi thought about how the two of them are really on a date. Realizing it really was a date, Tsurugi questioned how things ended up like this, and freaking out again. The night before, Tsurugi approached Sensei with an issue and wanted his advice. She wanted to know about how to deal with her youth. After Sensei questioned what she meant, she explained that she's only really known fighting, but she wants to experience the romantic youth of comics and magazines that has been absent from her life so far. Fiddling with her fingers, she admitted that she at least wants to go on a date with someone she likes. Sensei calls her romantic and Tsurugi apologized and blushed. Slamming his hand on the desk, Sensei announced that he's made a decision. They will go on a date. Tsurugi, who became overwhelmed, let out a scream, attracting Yuka's attention, but not knowing the reason. Returning back to the present, Tsurugi continued to panic, believing that it all must be a dream. Looking up at Sensei, Tsurugi saw Sensei glancing back at her, and her image of him was sparkling in the daylight. Surprised by how cool he looks today, Tsurugi panicked and accidentally crushed Sensei's hand while attempting to calm herself down. Arriving at the cafe, they received their order, much to Sensei's delight and Tsurugi's dismay. It was a special love parfait, which Sensei fed to Tsurugi with his injured hand. She blushed and was worried, but managed to hold still long enough for Sensei to feed her. As she ate the parfait, she enjoyed the moment. But when Sensei asked if she did like it, she panicked yet again and chomped down on the spoon with a metallic clang. Sensei casually asked the barista for a new spoon, while Tsurugi realized she tasted nothing due to her nerves. She was so thankful to be finally on a date, but she believed with how she's been acting, she might ruin it. Nervously, she called out to Sensei. She asked Sensei if they could go somewhere, which turned out to be the cinema. As they sat in the theater, they were alone, watching a romantic movie that seemed to be enthralling to Tsurugi. It turned out to be a movie about a student-teacher romance. But as teacher was mentioned, Tsurugi turned to look up at Sensei. He seemed to be drawn in by the movie also, and wasn't looking in Tsurugi's direction. Seeing Sensei's hand, Tsurugi decided to be brave and reach for his hand, shutting her eyes and hoping for the best. Feeling Tsurugi's fingers gently resting on his hand, Sensei looked down at her efforts before smiling and deciding to help her out. Without moving much, he held her hand in his, fingers intertwined. Sensei seemed to be proud of her efforts, while Tsurugi was doing her best not to explode with the nerves. As they left, Sensei complimented the movie and Tsurugi's choice, with her being modest about it. Sensei then offered a grand finale for the date, at his special place. Tsurugi seemed to go blank in the head as she realized that Sensei had brought her and checked in with her to a hotel. She looked around at the room he had booked and was astonished by it. It was massive, with a similarly sized bed and TV. Tsurugi questioned Sensei about this place, and he confirmed that it was a hotel like she thought. Standing in the room beside Sensei, she began to internally scream. She felt like she didn't deserve to be in a situation like this and planned how to flee. Should she just run from this affection, jump out the window and flee that way? Her panicked mind couldn't decide what to do other than leave. Flailing and thrashing like a wild cat, Tsurugi believed her heart wasn't ready while Sensei attempted to calm her down. She questioned if a teacher and student should do this, but Sensei decided to calm her with a kiss. It did stop her flailing, but she was still red and stunned. As they kissed, Tsurugi didn't resist but did comment on how they shouldn't be doing this. Sensei only kissed her more before quoting the movie that Tsurugi had recommended, saying that who cared about the barrier between them. Blushing, Tsurugi was taken aback that he had noticed so much, and the pair spent the night at the hotel. After the time they spent together, Tsurugi approached Sensei again, which caused him to ask if anything was wrong. She thanked him for the date, and more, and actually wanted to ask him about something else. Showing a bikini magazine, Tsurugi asked to go to the sea with Sensei as another date. She couldn't look him in the eye, and her face was flushed red, but her interest in going with Sensei was clear to see. Bonus pages. While on a park date with Sensei, Tsurugi saw a couple walking arm in arm in love while they were walking their dog. Noticing that she was staring at that, Sensei asked if she wanted to try what she was looking at. Tsurugi was taken aback, but not opposed to it. Surprised, Tsurugi was in a dog collar and a lead that was being held by Sensei. Despite her shock, Tsurugi acted the part, and the pair oddly enjoyed the moment together. Yuka noticed that Sensei was finished with work early for once and seemed to be leaving in a cheery mood. He admitted that he had something important to do tomorrow, before noticing that Yuka's words were very mean. Yuka questioned what the important thing was, assuming that it was something to do with his hobbies, and planned to join him for it since he's so helpless at everything. But then Sensei gleefully told her that it was a date. With the murderous aura consuming Yuka, she was triggered into yandere mode, and Sensei was going to suffer for it.